Sound of the living water. Twice I awoke, after the dreaming that was ascending. I was lying on my stomach on a rock in a cave, looking down into a pool of water. The current flowed over, the stream flowed under. All life was connected by the sound of the singing, which is the song of the water living. In the pool among the fishes were many small carvings, each embedded in wax-like casings, golden yellow in their makings, each with symbols on their bases, each with melodies in the place of faces that were speaking out in tongues filled with the force of harmonious graces, which picked me up and left me here with these magical words ringing in my ear. When I was a child, we played in the water of an underground stream, while the earth above us laughed like our mother and taught us new words to sing. We knew what it was to know who we are and what the future would bring. So we sang and we danced and we loved all our life, for we lacked not a single thing. Our life was long and our sorrows were short, until the day came when we forgot to remember what it feels like to hurt, and so, in the ways of thinking, sank a shaft right to the source, piercing the heart of our mother. Now all that remains is a pool of mud, and the taste of something strong in our blood, and a heart that recalls the way our life was when this earth was our one and only mother. May we never forget, at the water's edge, why what was clear turned to red, and how quickly our childhood fled. Please forgive us now, our mother. But in the sending that came through a dream that day, I know I heard a familiar voice say that there is an inner man to be found, whose speech wells up from that sovereign ground, whose strength flows straight from a spring of the older days, giving him visions clear and sound, which baptized me as a child of that hidden realm, where every impulse born of the other ways allows me through his eyes to bathe in your crystal gaze. So please tell me now, my mother, before I was a child, you must have held us both close, and then you gave me this life when I needed it most, and now you sent to me my own Holy Ghost to help me fulfill what must be this time's greatest boast, that you are now and forever my mother. For as long as the heavens and stars are one, I shall remain your grateful son, and enter back into the world again on the red speech of the ancient tongues of men, to fulfill the prophecies of the wind, to wash away with deeds my mind's original sin, that I might return to you hand in hand with my unborn twin, who has been watching and waiting since forever for this season of the sending to begin. So please welcome home this child within, who though self-contained still needs a friend, to share a drink of water in order to mend my wounded spirit before the dark side of your breath closes in and brings to this thirst an untimely end. So please now, my mother, one drop of pure water please send to my throat, whose words have grown so very dry and thin, before I forget where it is I've been, while all stretched out and waiting for the rest of me to be born again into this flatlander's body that can no longer bend to the will of spiral-headed men. And so, by the graceful signs of unknown time that sleep alone in my fingertips, I hereby call down to earth heaven's glory on my way to lay to rest, beside a streambed of ancient rhythms filled with tenderness, which overflow to become the sight of tomorrow's dawning, bright with happiness. For those who reach the ocean shore by morning will be baptized with sunlight's celestial kiss, while I stay here to keep these fires burning with a steady wind of perpetual emptiness. Yes, there is nothing in the stars for me, except for emptiness. With all the fire I'll ever need, the cold's a welcome guest. In distant winter's dreams I fly, forever to leave this nest, for my heart knows my home's in the sky, beyond all cleverness. Yes, there is nothing in the stars for me, nothing but emptiness. Why should I wait for the rebirth of magic, so as to split the night, scattering before me in every direction galaxies of broken light, that shine on me only as needed in order to give out all-encompassing sight, except to see that what I've really seeded is a field of wrong, deeply embedded into a world of right. There is, I hear, a dark voice calling, off a cold wind that turns on a hub of liquid life, a spiral storm whose speech is growing by swallowing the weak to feed its might. Awesome is a word which holds no meaning if you're being torn apart, and the old saying that blood is thicker than water is like a dream that's fading when you're the thirsty one who has no heart. And yet there is, in every sense, a great awakening once we step outside ourselves. But who among us can survive this hostile weather that burns from within while freezing from without? And so we practice each time we awaken, dressing in our chosen fabric of life, a well-worn weave not easily forsaken, even though the design be stitched with sorrow and strife. For there is, I know, no other enchantment, apart from dying alone, that can release us from these prison castles and return us to the wildwood of our childhood homes, where the sun still rises with the morning through arched columns of grass, and the dew begins each day with a warning of a time that just will not last. For the truth is, there is no justice in any place whose fiction is all too readily taken as fact, and the final seed of every flower that will not blossom always comes at the end of a long and beautiful past. Listen well to the names that the night wind will be reciting, while I cradle them carefully right from the start. Know now that the lords of eternity are alive and inviting your primal spirit to re-enter through a doorway fashioned in the dark. Set straight the affairs of this breakaway culture. Stand still inside a circle of stone. Wait there for the strengths of original vision to return and separate the knower from the known, that we might gather together the drawstrings of a net of vapors, so as to once more capture a breath of life to call our own, with which to begin that familiar portage through the gateway passage, where we thought cuts us, just like a knife, right to the bone. I should have been born a seed, dormant in another place and time. Then I would still be a thought asleep in the back of the Sky Lord's mind, waiting to be reborn through a whisper, writing ebony sculptured lips, then brought out again as a secret from the deep lady's hips, who shall become another to tell this child a lie, for all the brave do at birth die.